Hello everybody, welcome back to the AMA live show here at the Hanguk office. Let me start the Facebook live stream as well. So now we should be live in both places. Welcome back to the AMA live stream here at the Hanguk office. I'm Nathan, I'm the International Student Coordinator, as you probably already know. And first, as always, let's start off with the reminders. We are in the application period for many of our schools, so be sure to get us your documents as soon as possible. Those include Hanguk University, as well as we're accepting applications for Sungyongwan and Sheila, and then Hanyang and Gyeongsung are further down the line during July, but still make sure to get us your application documents as soon as possible so we can check them and make sure they're all good to go for the school. I know a lot of you have submitted your documents already for Hanguk University, so if you have, then you should hear back very soon from us, probably within this week, if not next week. So those are our deadlines for our school programs. As you know, you can start any Monday at Lexus Korea, and then also we're still accepting applications for our study trips. So please visit our website and check out our study trip page or our school pages for more information about those. Today I wanted to talk a little bit more about money relating to studying in Korea, because many of you start off your message with how much does it cost to live and study in Korea, what is the tuition, what should I bring in terms of money, what should I budget per month. So I wanted to touch on that again. I know I've talked about it before, but I think constant kind of updates and reminders about that can help you gauge how much money you need, as well as point you in the direction of some resources on our website, as well as other videos we've made relating to the cost of living in Korea. So Eddie is with me as always, so if you have different comments or questions during the live stream, then please let us know and we can get back to you during the stream, if not right after. So the first thing I want to direct your attention to is just talk about the cost of living, besides things like fixed costs like tuition and your accommodation costs. So basically this is going to be up to you and your spending habits, but one thing of course you're going to have to worry about is food. If you don't live in the dormitory and you won't have a meal plan associated with that, then you should budget accordingly. And if you remember, a while ago I made a video about the cost of living in Korea, and I'll go over at least the related information to food here again. You can watch the rest of the video on our social media if you want some other detailed information about, say, recreational activities and other things. But in general, eating out in Korea is quite reasonable and affordable. Especially if you want to eat on campus where you're studying, especially at a university program, or at small Korean restaurants maybe around where you live. For example, one small Korean restaurant that I eat at frequently, they have vegetable kimbap, the rice and vegetables rolled up in the seaweed, for only 1,000 won, and that's like less than $1. So that's very cheap. Like say you can get a meal for less than $1 or $2. Like that's kind of the average price for, like, say, your standard vegetable kimbap. I mean, the price will vary depending on where you go, but if you are in a budget, you can eat quite cheap in Korea. For example, if you want to, go to a convenience store or a small market and buy the Korean ramyeon, maybe you've seen the red packets of Korean shinramyeon or something like that in a convenience store, like those are very cheap. They're like less than $1 per packet. Other things you can get very cheap in Korea, such as rice. If you go to a market, you can pick up vegetables and fruits for very reasonable prices. So you can definitely feed yourself if you're on a budget in Korea, if maybe your funds aren't that big. I'm gonna flip really quickly to my monitor here. For those on YouTube, you can find the information on the video I did for the cost of living in Korea, or you can of course refer to this video later. So on my screen, for those who can see it, again, I have a monthly budget number I'd say budget anywhere between 250,000 to 300,000 won per month for your food. And then there's of course some prices on the screen as well. So as I mentioned, kimbap is very cheap. The campus restaurants that are at universities are very cheap too. You can probably find a meal there between 2 to 4,000 won. Again, if you eat ramen in a restaurant as opposed to buying it in a convenience store or mart and eating it at home, you're probably going to be paying anywhere from 3 to 4.5, maybe 5,000 won. Obviously, they have overhead, and they have to, keep the lights on in the restaurant, so they charge a little bit more. But they also will add things maybe like cheese or rice cake or other vegetables to their standard ramen, so that's a little bit more fortified. But of course, you can do the same at home. You can buy the packet of ramen, and then you can of course add vegetables or egg or cheese or whatever you want. Same thing with like the soups and stews. I put down a number here for anywhere between 4 to 7,000 won. Maybe fancier or bigger portions, maybe more, but that's kind of a standard price range that you can expect. So I'll just flip back to my webcam here. So yeah, that's a little bit more about cost of living and food that you should consider when you do come to Korea. And the other thing in relation to that is financial aid and scholarships. I believe we've touched on this many times before. However, people like to lead with this question, or they immediately, they get the information about the tuition and the cost, then they immediately ask about financial aid and scholarships. Hanguk as a company, we don't provide any direct financial aid, but our schools do. And one person asked, does Korea have much bread? They do have a lot of bread products, but it may not be the same as you expect in your home country. Thank you, Andrew, for that question. Also in relation to food, we'll just touch on food again right quick. You can find like things like loaves of bread or other baked goods here in Korea. But if you go to like say a Korean bakery chain like Paris Baguette or Tous les Jours or someplace like that, a lot of the products will be just sweet inherently. Like it's not like they will make their they just will bake a loaf of bread and you'll eat it and be like, wow, this is sweeter than I expected. Koreans like things that are sweet, and sometimes things that are sweet that you wouldn't expect them to be. You will find other kind of unique things, like maybe hot dog bread, like literally it'll be a hot dog and some bread, or maybe chopped up with some other cheese on top of it, and they'll sell it like pre-baked, and then when you order it, they'll heat it up for you. They do have like Dunkin' Donuts, they have Krispy Kreme, things like that as well. But and there are more and more like independent bakeries popping up. Even things like vegan bakeries and things like that, a couple bagel shops, but it's not going to be like say similar to the US. It's not going to be like maybe Europe where you have like fresh baguettes available, but there is bread and there are bread products. It just may be a little different than what you're expecting. I mean, you can buy loaves of bread for toast in the morning if that's your thing. You can find bagels at Costco. There is Costco in Korea. You can find bagels even at Dunkin' Donuts or your local Korean pastry shop as well. But again, the flavor might be slightly different. So thank you for that question, Andrew. Going back to financial aid and scholarships, on all of our school pages, there is scholarship information if there are scholarships available for that school. So let me just flip to my monitor really quickly again. And for those on YouTube, just bear with me. So here's the slide about food. And I'm going to use Hanyang University as an example. So right under the total course costs, you can see that a tuition fee reduction scholarship is available. And if you click on the link, it'll bring up the specific scholarships that are available for that school. And this is similar for all of our school pages. So for instance, Hanyang University has a couple here. Their first one is for academic achievement. So if you do really well, you can get quite a significant discount on your tuition. If you register with your sibling, you can get a discount. And for some that may be in a tight financial situation, the school will offer you kind of like a work-study program. And I think that's based on your individual situation and also how the school needs to use its students in terms of working. So it's here that they can help with, like, say, marketing and SNS. I think you'd have to talk with the school directly about that if you're in a really dire financial situation. And maybe Eddie is rearranging the camera for YouTube. So on all our school pages, this information is available. So I really suggest that you read through our school pages in a lot of detail, because they give you a lot of information that you may have questions on, especially in relation to money, because people will say, oh, how much does the tuition cost? How much does housing cost? All this stuff. And really the information is already out there on our website. So we try to give you as much information as possible to start, so that you're prepared to make a decision regarding the school as well as location, as we do have schools that are in Seoul and Busan. And then within both of those cities, we have schools that are kind of in different locations in both of those cities. So we try to give you as much information as possible up front. And again, if you have other specific questions, we're of course here to help, as it says here on the website. So even in terms of when the school starts, like the terms and the difficulty and all of those things are right available on our website. As you can see, for Hanyang, you can start in March, June, September, or December. You can study for up to 3 months without a visa for most countries. Please email us if you have specific questions about that, if you know maybe your visa-free period is different. Location, distance to public transit, special features of the schools, all this information is right here on our website, and all you have to do is keep scrolling. Just keep on scrolling and you'll find all this good information. So let's go to a different school just to give you another example to look at. Click on language schools, and maybe you're interested in a school in Busan, so maybe you click on something like Shilla. A lot of people are interested in Shilla University these days because we just finished our promo video for them, and as you can see, we just added it to our website. So if you want to watch the full video, you can of course click this link. Otherwise, it'll loop up here at the top. So we keep scrolling, and there's a bunch of information about Shilla University, including the location, distance of public transportation. Shilla's a little bit unique because their terms are longer. They're actually 20 weeks long, so you cover 2 levels in one term at Shilla University. So therefore, they only have 2 starting periods, in the spring and in the fall. Again, we have the term breakdown and the total course costs. And again, we're here to help. So if you see some information that you have a question on, please let us know and we'll get back to you. You can email us, or you can use the contact form that's on our website. If you just scroll all the way to the bottom, you can always find it. Our email address is info@gogohanguk.com. And if you do use the contact form, it sends us a message directly to our inbox as well. So we'll just hang home here for a little bit while I talk a little bit more. Again, for those joining us, my name is Nathan. I'm the International Student Coordinator here at Gogo Hanguk. We make it easy to live and study in Korea. So once you get all that information about the tuition and housing and all that good stuff, you're probably wondering how you pay. That's a good question. The most common way to get the money to Korea is by bank wire transfer. All the schools want the payment via bank wire transfer, and all the schools prefer it to be in Korean won. If for some odd reason your bank says, oh, we can't transfer it in Korean won, we have to transfer it in our local currency, that normally is okay. However, there are going to be conversion rates and things like that to consider. So if the school asks for Korean won, please ask your bank to transfer it in that currency. If that's not possible, then if you let us know, you say, hey, my bank can only transfer in euro or US dollars or what have you, then when it converts, the school will let us know if there's an overpayment or deficit. If there's a deficit and it's quite tiny, like maybe less than 50 US dollars or something like that, the school probably will let you just pay the balance when you arrive. If it's going to be really big, like you go over 100 US dollars or something, they'll probably ask you to do another transfer. So make sure you look at like the daily exchange rates when you make that transfer. If you don't transfer in Korean won. If you transfer in Korean won, transfer the tuition amount, you're good to go. If there's, for some odd reason, some overpayment, then when you get to Korea and let's say you're studying long term and you make a bank account, the school can settle with you then. But really, we are in Korea, so the schools would like local currency. But most of the time, people normally don't have a problem with the wire transfer. If you've never done one before, then please talk to your local financial institution. They can help you out. And in terms of proving that you've transferred, make sure to get some sort of receipt or some type of transaction number, and then we can tell the school that you've made that transfer. And they will look for it. And normally it takes anywhere from one business day to a couple business days. I know when I did wire transfers myself, it took about 24 hours to show up. So do be aware of that it does take a little time, or it can take a little time, especially like maybe you transfer on a Friday, it may show up the next business day, which would be Monday. Or if there's a holiday here in Korea or your home country, just be aware that it may take a little bit of time. Let's see. So after you get your tuition notification and things like that, or you're in the process of applying, you may notice that the school requires a certain amount of money from you. Or rather, they require you to show that you have a certain amount of money. This is because they want you to make sure you're financially stable. This is to make sure that you're not going to be ending up on the street when you come to Korea, that you can support yourself while you're in Korea, that you can pay the tuition, pay the flight, pay your accommodation, and still have money to spare, and that you're not going to be in a desperate situation in another country. I know this may come as a shock to many of you, like, why do I need to have like that much money set aside? I'm only going to be studying for like 6 months, and tuition is only this much money. But it's important to realize that you're going to have a lot of expenses, not only tuition, but housing, your plane ticket, obviously. You're going to be needing to feed yourself and to transport yourself around the city. So they want to make sure you're not going to be in a desperate situation when you get to Korea and while you're studying and living here, that you can devote your time to studying and not focusing on other things such as where's my next meal going to come from. So that's what we've been talking about so far as a relation to money and kind of finances and making sure you're prepared when you do decide to study in Korea. Another question that I've been getting is like, when will I hear back? So you've submitted all your documents, you've paid your money, and now you're just waiting for the school's response. So once we send all the documents off to the school for you on your behalf, it takes the school anywhere from a week to 2 weeks to kind of process all of that, because they're getting applications from not only all of you, but maybe other students as well. There could be hundreds. So of course, we get the documents to the school as soon as possible, and they will return the answer to us as soon as possible. The first thing they'll probably give us is your tuition invoice. And if you're at the dorm, that will also come as well. So then, great, they've accepted your application and they're waiting for your money. So it is advised to you to pay as soon as possible. This secures your seat. This will allow them to help with your visa application. So either they issue you a letter of acceptance, or for some schools, they help process your visa for you. So once you pay, that pretty much is the ticket to the next step. And in most cases, it is a visa for those that want to study long term. If you do not need a visa, if you're studying for a very short time, like only 1 term, 3 months, 2 months, depending on the school, then you're pretty much good to go. Once the school confirms that they've received your payment, then you can come to Korea if you do not need a visa. If you do need a visa, then after you get your letter of acceptance, you can go to your local embassy and fill out the required paperwork to receive your visa. So if you are waiting for a visa and you are going to need that to study, make sure you go through these proper steps to make sure that you get the visa approved, and to make sure you're going to be legally studying in Korea, and that you're not going to get here and all of a sudden find out something has gone wrong or that you don't have your visa. You need to get your visa before you arrive in Korea if you do require a visa to study. So just be aware of that. If you have any further questions about that process, then of course send us an email, contact us on social media or something to make sure that you get your question answered and make sure you have the proper visa and go through the proper steps. Because we'd hate to find out that something didn't go correctly through the process. That's what we're here to resolve for you, any type of issues relating to your studies here. So I think that pretty much covers all the major questions I had in relation to money and your visa. Eddie, is there anything I should address from the stream? Any questions that people have been writing? Thanks again for joining us. Again, every Monday, we have our Ask Me Anythings about living and studying in Korea, hosted by myself. Actually, this week we have another video that we're going to be bringing you with our partner Lexus Korea. We're going to be observing one of their classes dealing with the TOPIK exam, so maybe you saw my video on that. We'll also be talking with one of the students that took the topic and did some preparation for that. So a lot of people are interested in that because the topic is a lot of times a requirement for either working or getting higher education in Korea. Any other questions from the live stream? Nope. Okay. So in relation to our video coming up this Thursday, I'll touch a little bit more about the TOPIK exam. It's offered many times in Korea, but if you're outside Korea and you need to take it, it may be only offered once or twice. So I advise you to visit the official website for the test if you're interested in taking it. And that is like the official government test to qualify your Korean level. So maybe you've studied Japanese and heard of the Japanese language test, the JLPT, or maybe you are thinking about getting certified in English or something. You've heard of things like the TOEIC exam or something, or the OPIC exam. This is very similar to any of those. It's a standardized language test administered by the government and is the official kind of benchmark for how much Korean you know. There is no speaking part, it is only listening, reading, and writing. The things that people normally have problems with on the test are time management, as well as maybe vocabulary. So time management is very important for the test. You have very limited time for all sections of the test. Many people decide that if a section of the test is too hard, they simply skip it because they want to go and check the answers that they might have a higher chance of getting right. This is especially true for things like the reading because some of the passages are very long, and if you're spending too long on a certain question, then you might as well skip it and go to another one because your time is very limited. I myself have taken the test twice, and I know many people that have taken it many more times than that. One of my friends has taken it like 5 times or more. Many people take it over and over again because the more they practice it, they find the easier it is to take the test and the better their time management gets. Also, you get more familiar with the types of questions that are on the test. In my video I did about the topic, the Ask Me Anything about the topic, I showed you some prep books. There's a lot of preparation books out there now. There's a lot of preparation books out there now. There's a lot of books that talk about the vocabulary you need, 30-day topic, or drills that you can do in vocabulary and grammar. So language school is of course a great way to prepare for that. But in terms of preparing for the topic specifically, we're going to talk with Lexus this week to get more insight into how they prepare you, and also talk with someone who's also taken the test and prepared. So thanks again for joining us. Again, every Monday, AMA video about living and studying in Korea. Other thing that we have coming up later this month, for those in the US and other on the East Coast, we have our presence at KCON. I think many of you have seen the video where I talk a little bit more about our presence there. The KCON in New York is from June 23rd to the 24th. We're really excited this year because not only we're going to have a booth, we're going to be giving a panel, and the panel is going to talk even more in depth about our help we give to you about living and studying in Korea. And it'll be in the afternoon on the 24th, I believe. If you excuse me just one moment, I will bring up that information. If you get our newsletter, it should also be included in our newsletter. So the panel will be given by one of my coworkers who's familiar with our company as well, also works for Hanguk, and his name is Chris, so you'll be able to meet him there, as well as some other people that have had experience with Hanguk that you can meet in our booth. So let me just bring up that information really quickly for you. So for those that are on the West Coast, we are actually going to be at KCON in LA as well. So we are excited to be at both of those places. And I think there's a question from YouTube. Hello, hello Sophia. I would like to know if the Korean colleges accept foreign students with scholarships. So yeah, many of the universities and colleges here in Korea do accept foreign students. We specifically help with Korean language programs, and those of course are targeted at foreign students. And as I mentioned earlier, they do offer scholarship help depending on the school. So a lot of that scholarship help is merit-based, which means it's based on your grades or attendance. So just be aware of that when you do start to apply. If you're interested in doing something like an undergraduate or graduate program, at this time, Hanguk doesn't support the application process for that. But a lot of times you have a Korean language requirement to enter those degree programs. So in preparation for that, we definitely recommend studying at a Korean language institute. And that's what we can help you with. So let me just look here for the panel info. The panel, again, I believe will be June 24th, the Saturday, and I believe it is at 2 p.m. Tell you what, I will put that information in the video description for this live stream, if I can't bring it up right now. So if you have any other questions, just please let me know on the comments for YouTube and or Facebook. Again, every Monday I am with you here, talking about living and studying in Korea. A lot of times people will ask me the same questions a lot, and so I gather those over the week before the live stream, and then I just make notes of them here and I share them with you because I'm sure a lot of you have the exact same questions. Let's see. For those that might be on the West Coast, again, the KCON in LA is in August, so be sure to see us there. We'd like to give the same presentation we give on the East Coast as we will as for the West Coast, so we're getting confirmation on that currently. But again, we hope to give a panel to discuss our services further. Let's see. Here we go. So yes, it'll be June 24th, which is the Saturday, from 2 to 3 p.m., panel number 2, and there is a high capacity, so hopefully a lot of you can join us there. And you will have the opportunity to win some great giveaways and prizes. I teased those in another video. We have some great things from our partner universities to give away, as well as other schools have sponsored free tuition. So please do attend. We'll be giving those away to you, to the attendees. So if you attend our panel, you could win free tuition at 2 of our schools, Lexus and Hanyang University, as well as a free 2-week stay at one of our share house partners. The value of those is quite high, so we thank our partners for those generous donations for giveaways and prizes, and we hope to see you very soon. We have another question. Is it easy to get a visa for living in Korea? So for living and studying in Korea, the application you fill out for the schools, that gives them enough information to sponsor you for a long-term student visa. The type of visa you get is the D4. It is for Korean language training. The maximum amount of time you can be on that visa is for 2 years. And you have to study past your visa-free period in order to get that visa. So for instance, American citizens, we can stay in Korea for 90 days without a visa. So you have to study, at least for American citizens, you have to study beyond that time. So 2 terms, which would be 6 months to qualify for that visa. If you're a EU member state, then again, it's 90 days. If you're Canadian, it's 180 days. So you have to actually study for more than 6 months in order to receive a student visa for Canadian citizens. Canadians, you're a little lucky in that aspect. So yes, you can get a visa. It'll be for studying Korean. So in relation to that, some people ask about part-time jobs. I need to work to help support myself. I want to make a little money on the side. There are regulations in relation to that. So let's say you're going to study for a year. The immigration requirement is that you are in Korean language school for 6 months before you start working. This is to ensure that you know Korean and can kind of survive in that environment before you go and jump into a part-time job. The part-time jobs you can get are something like working retail or working in a restaurant. So maybe you go work at Subway, you go work in a local Korean restaurant, or you go work at Uniqlo or somewhere like that. You go work in Forever 21 or something. But the thing is, you need to have some Korean language background. They want to make sure that you do know some Korean before you start working, and that you're not going to be completely clueless when someone asks you a question or when your manager has to give you instructions. This is in contrast to some other countries, so just be aware you cannot start working immediately when you come to study Korean, because your visa is specifically for studying Korean. That's the D4 language training visa that the schools can sponsor you for. So thank you for that question, Sophia. If you have more questions, please let us know. And again, my name is Nathan. I'm the International Student Coordinator here at GoGo Hanguk, making it easier for you all to live and study in Korea. We're a free service to you. Your money goes directly to the school, so it's not like we're charging you extra fees and extra money just to apply with us. Again, we support you, in this case, English, but we also have support for Spanish and Swedish and Italian and other languages as well. So please contact us if you need further assistance. Again, we're going to be at KCON in New York. We're going to be at KCON in LA. We have a live video coming up this week with our partner Lexus Korea, which is just down the street from us. They are hosting a topic class that we can observe, so we really appreciate them inviting us to do that and talk with their staff and students. Do we have any other questions, Eddie? Nothing right now. So I think we're gonna wrap it up in just a few minutes. Again, you can join me every Monday at noon Korean time for this live video stream. We do it right here in our office. It's located near Gangnam. If you've heard of that, maybe from the song, or if you're familiar with Seoul, you know it's south of the river in the big entertainment business district. And we are real people. We're a real business here in Korea. We're incorporated. So some people are kind of hesitant to contact online business, but rest assured, we're real people here, and we are here to help you live and study in Korea, and bring you information about Korea in general as well. You might have seen our videos that we did going to activities that are related to our study trips. Please watch those on our social media as well to get familiar with some fun things you can do here in Korea with us. Our study trips are still accepting applications as well. We opened up the application for our winter trip. So if you'd like to spend time in Korea during the winter, that application is open into October, I believe. So please visit our website to get more information on that as well. So if there aren't any more questions from the live streams, then I think I will be wrapping this up very shortly. Thank you so much for joining us every Monday, and thank you for your questions during the live stream. We really appreciate the engagement and I'm sure a lot of other people have those exact same questions that you have, so don't be hesitant to ask us or comment later on this video or send us an email. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, and of course you can email us anytime, info@gogohanguk.com, as well as the contact form on our website. So to wrap up, thanks again, and I will see you very shortly this Thursday with Eddie at Lexus and every Monday. Thank you.